against the law. Fubi and other people who say this model has not worked before, let's change it, you are wrong. Fubi, they put the structure that is under, it worked very, very well. Liberia was not just a gateway port. Liberia, the port system was working well under NPA. It was a transshipment hub. Our system was serving Guinea and parts of Ivory Coast. So to argue that it has never worked, you're wrong. It worked and it worked well. It did not only serve Liberia, it served part of Guinea and parts of Abidjan under that model. That model is the model almost across almost all African countries. There are few exceptions. Yes, you can go Abidjan, you find exception. You can go one or two places, you find exception. But in majority, everywhere you go, you see a port authority managing all the port. So the argument that it has not worked is wrong. What we should be asking is, why is it not working? It is not working now because since the war, we have not invested cash money into the fundament, into the main port infrastructures. We have not invested there. The government doesn't have the money to invest into the key infrastructure at the port. So what has happened is, over the years, those infrastructure have been abandoned. The approach to addressing that problem is not just to break it apart. Human capacity is a problem. The lack of human capacity since the war. Just breaking it apart, you're just breaking apart the problem. You're not solving the problem. Lack of investment, you're just breaking the problem of lack of investment. You're not solving it. The way to solve lack of investment is what is already going on now, to attract private investors. So you argue that the private investor who want to come is saying the only way they can come is that the ports are broken apart. Which private investor says that? So, Stanton, 3 reasons why the law is bad. 1, the law creates a new agency when there is no need to create new agency. That new agency in the law creates burden on the government because the law says the government will have to put it in the national budget. That's 1. 2, that new agency, because it has to survive, will now have to tax port users. While the government is working to reduce the cost of doing business at the port, the new agency will be putting additional fees. That's another reason why it is bad. And that is why in all other countries you go, you will not see a separate regulator because the ports are regulating in the port. And they know when you create separate regulator, you will have to tax port users. Another reason why it is bad, you are setting a bad precedent. If you argue that because the port are not working well, let's separate it, somebody will argue day after tomorrow, LEC is not working well. So let every county that have LEC installation manage their own LEC. Another person will argue water and sewer. Let's establish our own water and sewer and manage it, say water and sewer is not working. And several other institutions, the airport authority, they will say that NIMA manage their own airport. Let Grand Bassa manage their own airport. You don't do that. When you identify problems, you solve those problems, you don't break them apart. So those are the fundamental reasons. Additional costs on business people, additional costs on government, and it is not the best practice. That's the reason why they went to federal government. Council, yes, every law we make, even the research we do, we borrow from places. But there's a rule of thumb in borrowing from places. You must borrow from similar places. That's the rule of thumb. That is why they went to federal states, because they could not easily find it in Africa. That's why they went to federal state. So yes, you can borrow, but the rule of thumb is you must borrow from similar places and adapt it to your local context. So the law is bad because it puts additional fees on port user, it puts pressures on government, and it is not best practice across Africa. Akara, you can go.